say so, I believe that the mothers of the present generation do not spank their children enough. My work takes me into a great many homes, and I see and hear a great deal, but it would not for me to say anything.
Oh, that's right. A fine idea, Dougal.
Aye, now you take the Dillon patches over on the larder side. Ooh, she's a fine-looking woman, but she's got a confounded long tongue.
I wouldn't have thought that of her.
Aye, and then there's their boy, Alex. The other night we were playing the game of guesses. You ken what I mean? Alex says to me, Dougal, what do you use your head for? Well, I knew the answer well enough, but I couldn't think it just then. So I says, it's for thinking. He says, guess again. I says, I gave it up, Alex. What is it? He says it's to carry your cap round on. He said that to me. He actually had the candosity to tell me that. And his father, Peter, just sat back in his chair and laughed, just like an old fool. There's nothing in him but what fit in with a spoon. And it was not a new joke either. No, it was old as the hills. If he was my boy, I'd have warmed him good.
Well, I take it that you were strictly raised.
Right ye are. I was raised, as it were, with a Bible in one hand and a tawse in the other. The one was for my moral and spiritual uplift, and the other was for my physical control. Actually, that's what made me the fine, good-looking, upstanding man that I am today. Although I'm not giving a boasting about it. Now you take Geordie here. He's a different kind of a boy. Look how he sits reading his book.
What are you eating, Geordie?
My geography. Say, Dougal, what's an Indian?
Oh, he's a kind of a man.
Are you an Indian, Dougal?
No, I'm not an Indian. An Indian has a red skin.
Well, you've a red nose.
He's no better than the rest of them. You'll excuse me, Mrs. Greenlee. I think I'll go out and have a smoke.
You shouldn't have said that to Dougal. I think you've hurt his feelings.
Well, he has a red nose, and he gets drunk every Saturday night. What is an Indian, Mother?
Well, an Indian is a mon that's born in America. And I'm glad that you see drink as a wrong. Because when ministers drink it and church members make it, you can't expect too much from just a shoemaker.
If I was born in America, would I be an Indian?
Oh, no. What makes you ask such a question as that?
Because I heard a man say the other day that if these hard times continue much longer, he has gone to America, even if he had to live among the Indians. What does he mean by hard times, Mother?
Well, it means when people can't find work and they can't pay their rent.
So we pay our rent?
Well, we've been able to up until the last time. But farm prices are low, and it takes all the money we earn just to feed and clothe us. Poor Father, he's much a boot over it. And the factor says that if the rents are no paid at once, he'll put us out, and he'll make us pay even if he has to put Father in jail.
I'll no let him. I've got money in my bank. I've got as much as 6 pence. He can have that.
Oh, you're a good, kind-hearted boy, Georgie. We'll all try as hard as we can. But listen, here comes Father. Have you found out anything, John?
Why, we've been through many trials during the days of our married life. You live and loyal. But your greatest test is coming new, for it's no cheery story I'm about to tell you. They say the Duke of Argyle is an honest man, but that agent of his is a rascal. I asked him to give me just a little more time, and he impudently said to me, "How do you think his lordship can live in the style he does if you don't pay your rent?" I was so angry at him, I could have liked to taken my knee and cracked him on the side of the head. But I kept myself in hand. But, let's see, I told the paper was in the hands of the officer for service. It's pay or suffer.
Oh, goodness. He's surely not intending to put us out, June.
Aye, that's what he said. There's only one thing for us to do. We must be out of here before he finds us. He can have the livestock to pay, but he'll no catch me if I can help it. I'll go to jail, and I'll go to jail if I can cheat him out of it.
But wherever shall we go, John? Whatever can we do? We'll have to have money wherever we go.
James Armour is back from America, and he was telling me that it's the land of promise. He's a wealthy man, and he offered me all the money we'll need so we can go there.
Can I go too, Father? Maybe I'll get a chance to chase an Indian.
If one goes, we'll all go. But if we go, it must be tonight. We'll have a midnight flitting. Wife, I scarcely dare ask you to make the sacrifice.
I can think of no better answer than Ruth gave to Naomi. Entreat me not to leave thee or from following thee. For whither thou goest, I will go. Where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God will be my God.
Spoken like the good true life you've always been.
You know, the thing that grieves me most is that I'll have to leave without saying goodbye to all my friends.
No, you know, for I've invited a few of our friends and neighbors. I told them I must go to America, but I didn't say anything about leaving at once. But we must plan fast if it should happen that, God forbid, an officer should come. You'll take the children and go to New York and stay with friends there. And I'll follow after, should I know be able to outwit the officer. Should it be that Stecky Hobart, we'll make him wise to his own shortcomings, him thinking he's the smartest officer in the hale British Empire.
Hello, John. Good to see you, man. Good to see you.
Oh.
John, what's this I hear about you going to America?
Well, we were thinking some of it.
Oh, that's a wild country, Dad. Oh, sure, you know, thinking of going there.
Well, I can't see much hope for the future staying here. Scotland is but a small country, and it's already overpopulated.
Oh, but they might kill you. I've heard of how the Indians, they just cut the very hair right off your heads. And then there's them wild animals.
Some places are full of danger, but not all. And the
And
opportunities
they're a
there.
sacrilegious bunch. I once heard a man say that he heard a man whistle to his dog.
I whistle to my dog lots of times.
But this was on the Sabbath day. Lord, that must have been awful.
I'm afraid, Dougal, you've been given a bad report about the Promised Land.
And they're a rebellious lot. Did they not rebel against our great King George and
Aye.
actually fight the British Army?
Aye, they did, and they defeated it too. Many of the American colonists, you know, were Scottish immigrants, and they were just as quick to resent injustice as you are. Most of them were also in favor of the Declaration of Independence. And it was a Presbyterian minister, Reverend James Witherspoon, John Witherspoon, I believe, who turned the tide of debate in favor of the Declaration.
Well, they could not have been such a bad sort of people if they were Presbyterians. Aye, they must have been good people.
Aye.
Let's have some music now, and then we'll have Mr. Armour tell us something more about America, for I'm greatly interested. Let's sing Blue Belt of Scotland. No, James, you say you know of an especially desirable place in America.
I've traveled far and I've traveled wide, both by land and by water, but no place impressed me more than did the state of Illinois.
Well, why didn't you stay What'd you come here enticing people away?
Well, no, because dear though I love Scotland, I can see her limitations. She is overpopulated, and her best lands are held by the nobility. It has no future for the coming generations. They must seek opportunity in foreign lands, and America is a nation of boundless opportunity where you can be independent and self-reliant and resourceful, and where life calls out the best you have to offer. Under the favorable laws, we can become builders of what will be the greatest and finest nation in the world. As a magnet draws iron, America will attract the finest people in the world.
I tell you, that Mont a fine speaker. He talks like an orator.
I'm more like a corn cure doctor.
Why do you say Illinois is one of the choicest places?
Because, lassie, it's the garden spot of America. It is one great section of beauty. It has hills and cliffs, woodlands and lakes and prairies, and winding rivers, and it takes its name from a tribe of Indians. It was their hunting grounds, their happy hunting grounds, it turned out.
But would it be safe for a settler to live there? Wouldn't the Indians bother them?
No, not anymore. The few Indians left are friends of the white man, and they're quite harmless. The large tribes all went west of the Mississippi when Chief Black Hawk was defeated.
But wouldn't the East be just as good to settle in as the West, and a good deal closer?
Well, it is closer, but the opportunities for the person of limited means are not near as good. Already, people are leaving the eastern states and gone further west. In a few years, the country will all be settled. The United States government practically gives land away to people who want to become permanent settlers.
Is Illinois a big place? Is there an area larger than others?
I like the Rock River Valley best. It's a wonderful country, a veritable paradise. There's a song much in vogue now that is sung in the East to encourage people to move to Illinois.
Would you sing it for us?
Oh, no, I couldn't. Come on.
Come on.
Yeah, I just happen to have the words right here. I guess I could. By thy rivers gently flowing, Illinois, Illinois, are thy prairies verdant growing, Illinois, Illinois, comes an echo on the breeze, rustling through the leafy trees, and its mellow tones are these, Illinois, Illinois, and its mellow tones are these, Illinois.
And I suppose you'll become one of these settlers, as you call them.
Ah, Doogie, when God created us, he did a marvelous job of it. He made us all different. Now that's true, isn't it, Doogie?
I'll no say it isn't, James.
Aye, well, I like being sort of a prospector. I like to travel and dream the dreams. John Greenlee here, he's different. He's a builder. If he goes to Illinois, he'll improve it. He'll acquire more land, and he'll cultivate it, and he'll inspire others to come to America, and his home may well become the nucleus of a settlement.
Well, that may be, but I'll miss Scotland and her songs.
Let's sing Loch Lomond.
By yon bonny banks and by yon bonny braes, where the sun shines bright on Loch Lomond, where me and my true love will ever want to gaze, on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. miss the music. I like Annie Laurie best. Would you sing it for us, Mrs. Greenlee?
Maxwell and Grace are funny when early past the two, and 'twas there that Annie Laurie gave me her promise true. Gave me her promise true, which never God will be, and for bonny Annie Laurie I'll live and deep.
John, if you do go to America, isn't it risky for a man of your years? Wouldn't it just be better for you to give in and pay them what they ask?
Men sacrificed their lives under Bruce and Wallace, but the liberty of Scotland was preserved. The Covenanters might have yielded to the bloody Claver House and saved their lives, but they refused, and religious liberty was preserved. If a little sacrifice on my part with better conditions for my family and my children, I stand ready to make that sacrifice.
But when would you leave?
Well, they've gotten a warrant out for my arrest.
What, John?
They may come this very evening. If they do, I'll need your help. For once they put me in a debtor's cell, they might hold me for a long time.
Well, if it's that sneaky Hobart, just leave it to me. I'll send him home running like a whipped cur with his tail between his legs.
And what can the rest of us do?
Well, you entertain him, and I'll take the pride out of him.
Open the door, John Greenlee. Open the door in the name of the law. Open the door, John Greenlee, in the name of the law.
Good evening, Snecky. You're out late. What brings you here?
I've a warrant for your arrest. You're to come with me.
Arrest? What? Well, surely no have to go to jail dressed like this, so you'll allow me to change.
Well, don't be long. You know, you cannot keep a king's officer awaiting.
Well, sit down, Snecky. Take a load off of your big feet there. Aye, come on, sit down, man. No doubt you're a busy man.
Aye, a very busy man.
Well, what is it then that you have to do?
Me work is to find everything that's lost, strayed, or stolen. Why, just last week, I spent 2 whole days looking for Mrs. Gillespie's cat. She thought somebody had stolen it.
You don't say.
Did you find it?
Ah, you bet your neck I did. It had 6 kitlings under a trebuchet in the barn.
I wish I could hear more, but I gotta leave. I'm just gonna take my coat and bonnet and gang away home.
Tell John he's not to keep me waiting.
Don't worry about John, man. Go on with your story.
Snucky, have you ever arrested a real criminal?
Hey, you bet I have. You see, the Duke Argyle has been having lots of trouble with his rabbits. They run wild on the farm, and the farmers feed them. And by Maramis time, when the rabbits are fat, the Duke takes his friends out and they shoot the rabbits. The farmers or no one else is allowed to hunt them. They're for the sport of the Duke, as it were. But if he liked the farmer, he might give him a rabbit once in a while. I wish John would hurry up.
Oh, I think John's okay. Why don't you just wait, man? It takes a while to get your clothes on, you know. Don't worry about him. He'll be out soon enough. On with your story.
Well, since times has become bad, there's a lot of idle poachers taking the Duke's rabbits. And the other day I met the Duke and he says to me, Snecky, he says, you're gonna have to do something about this rabbit poaching, or they're spoiling me sport. And he says, I'll give you 5 shillings for every poacher you catch in the act.
Well, did you accept the Duke's offer?
You bet I did. I thought if I caught a poacher, he might make me a policeman down in Campbellton. So I went to the hedge where the rabbits are at, you know, and I hid within the bush. And it was early morning, and I was afraid one of them blind rascals might take a shot at me, thinking I was a rabbit. But as my teeth began to rattle, I thought I saw a man.
Well, must have been fright that made your teeth rattle.
Oh, never. I'm afraid of nobody. But I did crouch down a wee bit lower. He had no gun. And it wasn't long before I saw him begin to pull a rabbit on a snare out of a hole. And I leaped up and I grabbed him by the collar and I said, what are you doing here, catching the Duke's rabbit? And what do you think he did? He cried like a baby, saying, please, Mr. Officer, don't take me to jail. I'm honest. I'm no stealing. I just caught a rabbit so my poor bairnies could have something to eat. But I says to him, my duty is to my duty. You can tell it to the judge. And besides, if I let him go, I lose my 5 shillings.
Oh, you know what to do that.
So,
Thanks for coming over tonight,
Good
Mrs.
night, Mrs.
McPherson.
McPherson. Good night.
May you get home safely.
Wonderful lady.
is,
Bye, dear.
is John ready
Well,
yet?
I think John will be along in a minute. Tell us, are you ever married yet?
Me? Married?
Hey.
Well, I've no time to be running after women.
I always thought that you and the widow McPherson would make a grand-looking couple.
Me? Marry that woman? Why, I'd die first. She gave me the awfulest fruit pudding I ever had in my life once when I took old McPherson home drunk. I tell you, she's a daughter of the Beelzebub.
Who's the daughter of the Beelzebub?
Mrs. McPherson, what does this mean? Where is John Greenlee?
It means you crazy cow of a policeman. Why don't you gang away home to see your rabbits? For John Greenlee has escaped and is safely on his way to America.
Next year, we're gonna ask for a bigger stage.
All of you tired old mist rolling from the sea, my desire is always to be here on Mulligan time. Far have I traveled, and much have I seen. Darkest of mountains with valleys of green, vast painted deserts, the sun sets on fire as he carries me on through the Mulligan tide. All of Kintyre, oh, mist rolling from the sea, my desire is always to be here on all of Kintyre. Sweep through the heather like deer in the glen. Carry me back to the days I knew then. Nights when we sang like a heavenly choir of the light, and the times of the Mulligan time. All of Kintyre, oh, mist rolling from the sea, my desire is always to be here on all of Kintyre.
America, could you please bring in 2 or 3 more chairs, dear?
Yes, ma'am. Father, I heard John Greenlee just say we were going to have a church. Is that right?
Oh, aye. It's important for all of us, especially you young people. That's why the folk are coming here tonight.
Did you miss the church services when you first came?
Oh, more than anything else, I miss the fellowship of the church. You'll be meeting other girls of your own age. You'll get the proper training and instruction in spiritual matters.
I don't think so hard. And I hear the circuit riders talk about ordination, predestination, and sanctification.
Oh, no, my dear. You'll take one thing at a time. When Father builds a house, he takes weeks to do it. He lays the stone on the stone, beginning with the foundation. And you'll build your character like that, one virtue to another. You'll be led in what to choose, what to reject. And of course, you'll have the Bible to guide you.
And that does sound a lot easier.
Mother, have you ever regretted moving to Illinois?
No, I think I can truthfully say I haven't. Dear, could you put the pillows over here, please?
Weren't you awful lonesome when you first came?
Hi, it was quite a change to come to a wilderness where your nearest neighbor was about 6 miles away.
Don't sound good in the journey at all.
Well, a family of growing children to clothe and wash and cook for sure didn't leave much time for homesickness. Besides, your father and I were building something for you all.
Mother, have you ever regret telling us again about Father's escape from the old country?
Oh, that was such a trying time. When Father, all dressed in Mrs. McPherson's bonnet and cloak, went out of the house that night in Scotland, I didn't know if we were ever going to see him again. 2 friends, Mr. Thompson and Mr. McEachran, rowed him across the English Channel on his way to Ireland, a distance of some 20 miles or more. Oh my, it was a dangerous passage. Soon after they started across, they were being pursued by British in a fast cutter. Just as they were just about to be overtaken, a fog came rolling in and it settled down upon them, and they got away. You girls, Geordie, baby John and I took a ship for New York, just as Father had said. And we just had to trust in God that things would be working out all right. As we drew near the pier, I saw your father pacing back and forth, and oh, the burden just rolled from my heart. Then followed that long journey, by river, by land, and by covered wagon, right to our cabin here in Illinois.
You must have been glad when some of the old country people began to come here.
Oh, I was so happy, dear. It was wonderful to have friends come who knew the people we knew and tell us of the folks and the scenes that were so dear.
You know, I was counting the other day and there are 30 Scottish families in that home.
Aye, once they began to come, they certainly arrived fast. One influenced another to come. I think the beauty and the opportunities here in America brought them.
Did you know the folks tonight are coming in bobsleigh and they will sleigh bells? I love to hear them.
Well, they should be here soon. Oh, here comes Father in from his chores. Have you everything put out for the night, John?
I tell you, wife, there's nothing like that good, strong shed for comfort that I built for the coos.
I expect it does make a difference. I know I really appreciate this beautiful house you built for us. The little cabin was so small and so cozy, but with the girls ever getting so big, it really made a difference. There, why don't you sit down and rest a bit, dear?
Aye, a man's work is never done. Here comes the sleigh.
Oh, what fun everywhere in the world.
How about another song? Rolling in the gloaming. Good one.
Rolling in the gloaming, and the bunny banks of fly. Rolling in the gloaming with my lassie by my side. When the sun has gone to rest, that's the time that I love best. Oh, it's lovely rolling in the gloaming, rolling in the gloaming, and the bunny banks of fly. Rolling in the gloaming with my lassie by my side. When the sun has gone to rest, that's the time that I love best. Oh, it's lovely rolling in the gloaming.
Hello, hello. John Greenlee lived here.
It's Doogie. Come right in, Doogie. I'm awfully glad to see you. My, but you're a sight for sore eyes.
Well, no say that I'm not glad to see you too, John. I wasn't planning on coming to America, but all my old customers started leaving for this country. And I began to think I'd have to start making shoes for strangers. And then I started thinking, if America is as large as they say it is, why, the more they walk, the more shoes they'll need. That's the place for me, says I, so here I am.
Did you have any trouble finding a suit?
I'll no say I didn't. When I got to New York, I asked the hotel keeper, has John Greenlee been here today? John Greenlee, says. John Greenlee, where does he live? In Illinois, says I. Well, says he, my good man, if you just travel west steady for about 6 weeks, that should put you in his neighborhood. And he was an awful smart fellow, because that's exactly how long it took me to get here.
And how are the folks in Hamilton? And what started you to America? You're the last man I ever expected to see come here.
Can I see these people?
Certainly can. Hello, hello. Welcome. This is Doogie McTavish from Scotland.
Say, what kind of dogs do you have in this country?
Well, we have most all kinds. Collies and shepherds and bulldogs and terriers. Why do you ask?
Well, as I was coming down the road today, I spied an awful cute Willow dog, and I said to myself, that would make a fine present for John's children. So I tried to catch it.
What was it like?
Well, it was not a collie or a shepherd because it was not big enough. And it was too pretty to be a bulldog. It was about this long and black, and it had a white stripe down its belly.
Did you notice any scent or odor about it?
Oh, when I got close, it was worse than an apothecary shop.
Doogie, I feel you came in contact with what we call a polecat, a skunk.
Then it was not a dog at all, but a cat? Preserve me from American cats.
We've all found lots of things different here in America. Sometimes we long for a sight of the wee hoose mang the heather. Would you sing it for us, John?
There's a wee house on the hillside that I haven't seen for years. I've an awful longing feeling through my eyes while dims with tears. When I think on all the happy days I spent beside that spot, and the dreams we played as laddies there have never been forgot. There's a wee house mang the heather, there's a wee house o'er the sea. There's a lassie in that wee house waiting patiently for me. She's a picture of perfection, oh, I wouldn't tell a lee. If you seen her, ye would love her just the same as me. Though I'm far away frae Scotland and the folks I lose a wheel, there's a beat for the all the country that's in every house I feel. Though the other lands are bonny and the other folks are kind, there is one scene and one only that is ever in my mind. There's a wee hoose mangle heather, there's a wee hoose o'er the sea. There's a lassie in that wee hoose waiting patiently for me. She's the picture of perfection, oh, I wouldn't tell a lie. If you seen her, you would love her just the same as me.
Well, it's all right to sing about the wee hoose among the other, but how many of us would want to go back? You?
No, I'm gonna say I would. Once a man gets a taste of land ownership, he never wants to go back to that landlord system of Britain.
And the inheritance laws were just as bad. The eldest inherited, and the rest of the family had to shift for themselves.
Yeah, he scattered them over the 7 seas. The boys had to either go into business for themselves if they had the capital, or become a hired servant, or join the army, or emigrate. The opportunities over here are so much better if a man has gets to work hard with his family to build a good life.
Yes, John, the shifting was sometimes poor, but we have a much better life here.
I've never regretted coming to America.
John Greenlee, what's this?
Oh, that came over on the Gleaner.
Is there anything in it now, Dougal?
Aye, it's filled with good Scotch memories.
Well, we all had fun coming over in 1842. Do you remember the fellow that was so seasick? He was out by the rail and somebody asked him, do you feel bad? He said, aye, bad. It's too bad to see the waste of all those good victuals.
And remember the fellow that was tired, and he wanted to come over here on half fare because he only had one eye, and he couldn't see as much as the rest of us.
Yeah, sing a song. How about it? Let's sing a song.
If a buddy seen a buddy coming through the rye, if a buddy kiss a buddy, need a buddy cry. Ilk a lassie has her laddie, name they say aye, but all the lads they smile on me when coming through the rye.
Let's sing Flow Gently, Sweet Afton. Flow gently, sweet Afton, among thy green braes. Flow gently, I'll sing thee a song in thy praise. My berries asleep by thy murmuring stream. Flow gently, sweet Afton, disturb not her dream. The stock-crowned whose echo resounds through the glen. Ye wild whistling blackbirds in yon thorny den. Thou green-crested lapwing, thy screaming forbear. I charge you, disturb not my slumbering there. Well, friends, we've had our fun and music. Now let's proceed to the business at hand. I'll ask John Andrew to state the purpose.
Well, I'm no much of a hand at speaking in public, so But I guess we all want to know how you feel about starting a kirk.
What does the Reverend Norton think about this?
He thinks there are enough people here in this settlement now to support a permanent church, and he wants to bring it before the congregation next Sabbath. I'm heartily in favor of it. We've built roads, our homes, schools, but we need a permanent church that will nourish our spirits.
Where would we build this kirk?
We could decide that later. First, we need our own congregation and regular services with our own minister. This will be our church. Of course, anything we do tonight will have to be approved on the Sabbath.
Suppose we take a vote, a show on a hand.
How many of in favor of organizing a church and will agree to support it, say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, say nay.
Nay.
Why, what's wrong, Robin?
I want a kirk, but what kind of kirk shall it be? Is it going to be one of those glory, hallelujah, praise the Lord, shouting Methodist kirks? Or is it going to be a congregational where you dare not put a stick of wood on the fire without getting a vote of the whole congregation?
Well, what kind do you favor?
I want the Presbyterian.
All right. How many in favor of a Presbyterian church? Say aye.
Aye. Well, it looks like it was unanimous that time.
Was it to be old school or new school? Now, Mrs. Greenlee, the children are going to be a part of kirk too. They need to know. The old school teaches orthodoxy and stability, and that the scriptures are the inerrant and right word of God. The mission of the church is to evangelize, to right doctrine, foreordination and predestination, and
The new church also teaches the Word of God, Robin, but the new church sees its work as to body and soul as well as in mind.
well, I think the new church may be wrong on some of its doctrines. The old church kind of winks at slavery.
It looks as if we're more in favor of the old school, but perhaps we'd better think this over until Sunday.
Wouldn't it be nice if we could have an organ when the new church is built?
Nay, nay, I'll no attend a church with one of those Yankee kiss the whistles in it.
David said to praise the Lord with a harp.
The harp is nothing compared to one of those Yankee contraptions.
I think we'd better get the church organized first. Details later.
It will have to have a name.
Well, we're all Scots. Why don't we call it the Scottish Church?
There wouldn't be a Yankee attendant then, nor any other nationality. The gospel is for all races. We don't want them to think that we are clannish.
Well, how about
Where would you find a hill around here?
Oh, I guess I didn't think about that. I've named 6 children in my life and without any trouble, but oh dear, trying to name a church.
The name should suggest something of a permanent nature, just as the South End Church in Scotland referred to the south end of the peninsula of Kentucky.
What is more permanent and unchanging than a water course? It's symbolic as well. We go to it when we're tired or thirsty, or for cleansing, or to find refreshment.
Of course, the creek. We could call it Willow Creek Presbyterian Church.
Well, I think Mr. Norton will approve of what we decided. This will help get the discussion going on Sunday. Why, it's Reverend Norton. Speak of the minister.
I was on the way home and saw your light. I'm not hoping not to prove.
Oh, we're very glad to greet you. We've just been talking over the church you propose organizing this Sabbath.
Oh, they got a beginning point then. And what did you decide?
Well, in brief, we are agreed that it would be known as the Willow Creek Presbyterian Church and probably of the old school belief.
Well, friends, I congratulate you on your decision. You've been faithful to your heritage that you carried with you across the sea. You've kept that faith right in this wilderness where things have been rough and the callings of the God in the church can be forgotten when these times of the pioneers. You've been making history tonight. Yea, about 50, 100, 150 years from now, your descendants will meet and they will marvel about your steadfastness, your loyalty, and your courage.
You're 150
50 years from now. Our teacher read to us from a book about scientific advances. We will have paved roads wide enough for 2 wagons, maybe 4 wagons to pass at the same time. And they won't be just wagons, they'll be steam engines, maybe. And there will be flying machines, like the big balloons he told us about, to carry people everywhere. And there will be newspapers like they have back east, and they'll come quickly, and we'll get our books faster. And more people will come here, and we'll have to add on to the church.
Oh, George, don't be silly. That was a scientific fiction book teacher read to us.
No, Martha, it'll happen. You'll see.
Thank you for putting up with us, and we all enjoyed ourselves.
Yes, we did.
I didn't tell you.
We're going to end with Old Lang Syne, and it's printed in your bulletin. The second verse is customary to join hands.
Capsule. That's going to take place in about 5 minutes, right out in front next to the brick sign.